The negotiator's gamble, Marcus Vale, adjusted his diplomatic vest as he stepped onto the crystalline platform of the Zephyrian mothership. The 38-year-old human ambassador had negotiated trade deals across 17 star systems. But this assignment felt different. The Zephyrians controlled the richest dilithium mines in the galaxy, and Earth desperately needed their resources to fuel humanity's expanding fleet. High Chancellor Vortex towered above Marcus, his silver-scaled skin reflecting the ship's bioluminescent lighting. The Zephyrian leader's forearms moved in complex patterns as he spoke, his voice carrying the musical quality typical of his species. Ambassador Vale, your reputation precedes you. They say humans possess remarkable adaptability in negotiations. Marcus nodded respectfully. We prefer to find solutions that benefit everyone, Chancellor. I understand you have concerns about Earth's military expansion. Indeed. Vortex's golden eyes studied Marcus carefully. Your species has shown aggressive tendencies. How do we trust humans who seem to solve problems with violence? The question hung in the air like a challenge. Marcus had studied Zephyrian culture extensively. They valued honor, family bonds, and peaceful resolution above all else. Their society had evolved beyond warfare centuries ago, making them suspicious of humanity's militaristic nature. Perhaps, Marcus said slowly, trust must be earned through actions, not words. What would demonstrate humanity's peaceful intentions? Vortex's expression shifted, revealing something Marcus hadn't expected: vulnerability. My beloved wife, Lirana, suffers from a rare genetic condition. Our medical technology cannot cure it, but we've heard rumors of human adaptability extending to biological solutions. Your species seems capable of surviving in environments that would kill others. Marcus felt his pulse quicken. This wasn't just about trade anymore. What exactly are you proposing, Chancellor? I want you to take personal responsibility for finding a cure. Work alongside our best scientists, but more importantly, work closely with Lirina herself. She understands your condition better than anyone. Vortex's forearms gestured toward a doorway. If you can save her, you'll prove that humans can be trusted partners rather than conquerors. As they walked through the ship's corridors, Marcus noticed the elaborate artwork depicting Zephyrian family structures. Their society was built on unbreakable bonds between mates, something humans could respect even if they didn't fully understand the depths of such connections. They entered a medical bay where a female Zephyrian sat reading data tablets. Lirina possessed an ethereal beauty, her scales shifting between silver and pale blue like moonlight on water. When she looked up, Marcus saw intelligence and determination in her amber eyes. So you're the human who thinks he can succeed where our greatest minds have failed, she said, her voice carrying a hint of challenge mixed with hope. Marcus smiled, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. I'm the human who's going to try with your help. Sometimes the best solutions come from unexpected partnerships. Little did Vortex know that his decision to trust a human with his most precious treasure would change everything. The unlikely alliance, 3 weeks into their collaboration, Marcus found himself genuinely impressed by Lirana's scientific knowledge. Her condition, called cellular cascade syndrome, caused her body's regenerative systems to work in reverse, slowly breaking down healthy tissue. Traditional Zephyrian medicine focused on harmony and balance, but this required a more aggressive approach. Your human concept of fighting disease is fascinating, Lirina said, as they reviewed molecular structures in the lab. We've always sought to persuade our bodies toward health, but you attack problems directly. Marcus pulled up a holographic display showing human immune responses. We've had to be fighters. Our planet threw everything at us: diseases, predators, natural disasters. We learned to punch back. Lirina's scales shimmered with what Marcus had learned was amusement. And you think my body needs to learn to punch back too? In a way, yes. But we need to teach it the right target. Marcus highlighted specific protein chains. What if we could reprogram your cellular regeneration to recognize the cascade failure as an enemy rather than a normal process? Dr. Kex, the lead Zephyrian scientist, approached with obvious skepticism. Ambassador Vale, you're suggesting we introduce conflict into biological harmony. This goes against everything we understand about healing. Sometimes, Marcus replied, healing requires fighting. Humans have been doing it for millennia. As days passed, Marcus noticed Lyrina growing weaker. The syndrome was progressing faster than expected, and traditional treatments were failing. But something else was happening too. He was developing feelings for this remarkable woman who faced death with such courage and grace. You're worried about me, Lyrina observed during one of their late-night research sessions. I can see it in your expressions. Humans are remarkably transparent with their emotions. Marcus set down his datapad. Your husband trusts me to save you. I don't want to let him down. And what about letting me down? She asked softly. The question caught Marcus off guard. In the weeks they'd worked together, he'd seen her brilliance, her humor, her unwavering determination. She wasn't just Chancellor, Vortex's wife. She was her own person, deserving of life for her own sake. I won't let you down either, he promised. That night, Marcus made a breakthrough. Human stem cells, when properly modified, could potentially reset Zephyrian cellular programming. It was dangerous, untested, and completely unprecedented, but it might work. You want to introduce human biological material into my wife's system? Vortex's forearms trembled with emotion when Marcus presented the proposal. This could kill her. The syndrome will kill her anyway, Marcus replied gently. This gives her a chance. Lyrina placed a calming hand on her husband's arm. I want to try it. If it fails, at least we'll have tried something new. The procedure took 18 hours. Marcus stood beside Vortex in the observation chamber, watching as human-modified cells were carefully introduced into Lyrina's system. For the first few hours, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the cascade began to reverse. It's working, Dr. Kex whispered in amazement. The cellular regeneration is stabilizing. But as Lyrina's condition improved, Marcus noticed something unexpected. In her eyes when she looked at him, something that mirrored his own growing feelings. Chancellor Vortex's trust had saved his wife's life, but it had also created a new problem neither of them had anticipated. The Forbidden's connection recovery took 2 months, during which Marcus found himself spending more time with Lyrina than protocol demanded. What started as medical monitoring became long conversations about their different worlds, their hopes, their fears. The biological compatibility required for the treatment had created an unexpected emotional connection. On Earth, Marcus told her, as they walked through the ship's botanical gardens, we have a saying, the heart wants what it wants. It doesn't always choose wisely. Lyrina's scales shifted to deeper blue, a sign of emotional turmoil Marcus had learned to recognize. Zephyrian bonds are considered sacred and permanent. What we're feeling, it's not just forbiddance, it's unthinkable. But you are feeling something, Marcus said softly. It wasn't a question. The human cells in my system, she replied. They've changed more than just my regeneration. I think differently now, feel differently. Sometimes I wonder if I'm still truly Zephyrian. Marcus stopped walking. You're still you, Lyrina. The treatment enhanced what was already there. Your strength, your intelligence, your capacity for growth. Chancellor Vortex's voice interrupted them. Ambassador Vale, I need to speak with you privately. Marcus's heart sank. Had Vortex discovered their growing connection? The Chancellor's expression was unreadable as he led Marcus to his private office. The Galactic Council has received disturbing reports, Vortex began. The Krillian Empire is mobilizing their fleets. They're claiming that human medical technology poses a threat to natural species integrity. That's ridiculous, Marcus protested. We saved Lirana's life. Yes, but the Krillians see it differently. They're calling it biological contamination, an act of aggression against a peaceful species. Vortex's 4 arms gestured helplessly. They're demanding I surrender you for trial, or they'll consider it an act of war. Marcus felt the weight of the situation crushing down on him. What are you going to do? I'm going to refuse, Vortex replied firmly. You saved my wife's life. I won't betray someone who showed such dedication to our family. The irony wasn't lost on Marcus. Vortex was protecting the man who had fallen in love with his wife, not knowing the full extent of what his trust had cost him. Chancellor, Marcus said carefully, there's something you need to know. Before he could continue, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Emergency lights bathed the corridors in red as automated systems announced incoming vessels. Krillian ships, Vortex's aide reported. 12 battle cruisers, demanding immediate surrender of the human ambassador. Marcus looked at Vortex, seeing the conflict in the alien leader's golden eyes. You could still hand me over, save your people from a war. No, Vortex said firmly. Trust, once given, cannot be withdrawn without cause. You've given me no cause. If only he knew, Marcus thought grimly. The Krillians weren't entirely wrong about human influence being dangerous, just not in the way they imagined. The real threat wasn't biological contamination, but the way humans formed deep emotional bonds that could challenge ancient customs and sacred traditions. As the Krillian fleet surrounded them, Marcus realized that Vortex's trust had created a situation that could ignite the very galactic war they'd all been trying to prevent. The Chancellor had trusted a human with his wife's life, and that trust was about to be tested in ways none of them had anticipated. The price of trust. Krillian ultimatum was simple. Surrender the human ambassador within 6 hours or face the consequences. Marcus stood in the ship's command center, watching the enemy fleet maintain their threatening positions around the Zephyrian mothership. We cannot win a direct confrontation, Dr. Kex reported quietly. Their ships outnumber US 3-1. Chancellor Vortex's 4 arms moved in frustrated patterns. Then we don't fight them directly. We outthink them. There's another option, Marcus said, knowing what he had to do. I surrender myself, but on my terms. I demand a formal trial before the Galactic Council. That will buy us time and expose their real motivations. Lirana entered the command center, her scales shimmering with determination. I'm going with you. Absolutely not, both Marcus and Vortex said simultaneously. I'm the evidence, she insisted. I'm living proof that human medical intervention saved a life rather than destroyed it. The Council needs to see what cooperation between species can achieve. Marcus felt his heart tear. Sending Lirana into danger was unthinkable, but her logic was sound. She was the key to proving that humanity's aggressive nature could be channeled into healing rather than destruction. I'll protect her, Marcus promised Vortex, with my life. The Chancellor studied both of them for a long moment. Marcus wondered if he could see the connection that had formed between them, the way they stood slightly closer than necessity required, the way their eyes found each other in moments of stress. Very well, Vortex finally agreed, but you won't go alone. I'm coming too. That's not necessary, Marcus protested. You've already risked enough. You trusted me with your life's work, Vortex replied. Now I trust you with mine. The irony of the situation wasn't lost on Marcus. Vortex was showing the ultimate faith in someone who had betrayed that trust emotionally, if not physically. The guilt weighed on him like a physical burden. The trial on the neutral station of Nexus Prime drew representatives from dozens of species. The Krillians presented their case with ruthless efficiency, arguing that human biological interference represented a new form of conquest, one that changed other species from within. They call it healing, Prosecutor Thane declared, his insectoid features clicking with disgust. But what they've created is no longer purely Zephyrian. They've corrupted ancient bloodlines with their aggressive human traits. Marcus stood to respond, but Lyrana rose first. "I am still Zephyrian," she said, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. "I am also still myself. What the human treatment did was give me the strength to fight for my life. That's not corruption. That's evolution." "Evolution forced upon you," Thane countered. "Did you choose to have human cells alter your biological structure?" "I chose to live," Lyrana replied firmly. "And I chose to trust someone from a different species to help me do it." The defense was going well until Thane revealed his final evidence. "We have recordings from the Zephyrian ship showing inappropriate emotional attachment between the ambassador and Chancellor Vortex's wife. This proves that human interference goes beyond the medical. They seek to corrupt social bonds as well." The chamber erupted in chaos. Marcus saw Vortex's face go pale, his forearms trembling with shock and betrayal. Lyrana's scales shifted to deep purple, a color Marcus had never seen before. "Is this true?" Vortex asked quietly, his voice barely audible over the crowd. Marcus met his eyes. "Yes, but not in the way they're suggesting. What happened between us was unexpected, unintended, and irrelevant," Vortex interrupted. "You've betrayed my trust while asking me to risk my people's lives for you." The Chancellor's words hit Marcus like physical blows. He had indeed violated the sacred trust placed in him, even if his feelings for Lyrina had developed naturally, and remained unexpressed until now. "The trial is over," Thane announced triumphantly. "The evidence speaks for itself. Human interference corrupts everything it touches." But as the Krillian prosecutor celebrated, Marcus realized that the real trial was just beginning. The trust between species, the future of human-alien cooperation, and the lives of everyone involved hung in the balance. And for the first time in his diplomatic career, Marcus wasn't sure he could negotiate a way out of the mess he'd created. The redemption of the Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Marcus stood to address the assembly. Chancellor Vortex sat apart from him now, the betrayal evident in every line of his posture. Lyrana's scales had shifted to a muted gray, reflecting her internal conflict. "You're right," Marcus began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber. "I did betray Chancellor Vortex's trust, but not in the way you think." Prosecutor Thane's insectoid features clicked with satisfaction. "The human admits his guilt." "I admit to developing feelings for someone I was meant to protect," Marcus continued. "But I never acted on those feelings. I never betrayed the sacred bond between Lyrana and her husband. The betrayal was emotional, not physical." "Irrelevant," Thane hissed. "Corruption of the mind is worse than corruption of the body." "Is it?" Marcus asked, turning to face the assembled representatives. "Or is it proof that different species can connect on the deepest possible level? That trust, once given, can create bonds that transcend biological differences?" He gestured toward Lyrana. "Look at her. She's not corrupted or diminished. She's stronger, more resilient, more capable than before. The human cells in her system didn't change who she is. They enhanced her natural abilities. But the emotional attachment," Thane began. "Shows that healing isn't just physical," Marcus interrupted. "When you save someone's life, when you work that closely with another being, connections form. That's not corruption. That's the foundation of trust between species." Marcus turned to Vortex, knowing this was his only chance to salvage not just his own life, but the future of human-alien cooperation. "Chancellor, you trusted me with your wife's life. I saved her, yes, but I also developed feelings for her. That's not betrayal. That's proof that your trust created something beautiful. Vortex's golden eyes were unreadable. You would use my wife's feelings to justify your actions? No, Marcus replied firmly. I would use them to prove that cooperation between species can create bonds stronger than any military alliance. Lyrina and I connected, not because I'm human and she's Zephyrian, but because we're both beings capable of growth, learning, and yes, love. Lyrina stood slowly, her scales shifting to a brilliant silver. He's right. What I feel for Marcus doesn't diminish what I feel for you, Vortex. It's different, but it's real. And it's proof that the barriers between species are artificial constructs we've created out of fear. The Krillians claim that human influence is dangerous, Marcus continued. They're right. It is dangerous to those who profit from keeping species separate, suspicious, and afraid of each other. What we've proven is that cooperation can achieve what isolation cannot. The chamber erupted in discussion as representatives debated among themselves. Marcus watched as Vortex approached Lyrina, their conversation too quiet to hear, but their body language speaking volumes. Finally, Vortex stepped forward. The human did betray my trust, he said, causing Marcus's heart to sink. But in doing so, he taught me something valuable. Trust isn't about expecting others to remain unchanged by our interactions. Trust is about accepting that those interactions will change us all, hopefully for the better. He turned to Marcus. You saved my wife's life and showed me that the bonds between species can be stronger than I ever imagined. That's not betrayal. That's transformation. Prosecutor Thane's clicking grew agitated. This changes nothing. The human corrupted. The human saved a life, Vortex interrupted. And in doing so, he proved that cooperation between species isn't just possible, it's essential. The Krillians fear this because they know their empire depends on keeping species divided. The vote was close, but the council ruled in favor of dismissing the charges. More importantly, they established new protocols for interspecies cooperation, using Marcus and Lyrina's case as a model for how different species could work together without losing their individual identities. As they prepared to leave Nexus Prime, Marcus approached Vortex one final time. I never meant to cause you pain. I know, Vortex replied. And I've learned that pain isn't always a sign of betrayal. Sometimes it's a sign of growth. Marcus watched as Vortex and Lyrina walked away together, their bond clearly stronger for having survived the crisis. He had lost the woman he'd grown to love, but he had gained something more valuable, proof that trust between species could survive even the deepest challenges. The Terran Empire would later trace its origins to this moment, when a human ambassador proved that cooperation was stronger than conquest, and that trust, once given, could transform enemies into allies across the galaxy.